Today I'm going to show you how to make a rope making hand crank. I figured that if we're going to have you make some rope with the hanging by a thread activity, I probably should show you how to make a quick hand crank. Here's an example of a hand crank I made that we're going to make here in just a moment. And all that's required on this is some cardboard, a pair of pliers, some masking tape or duct tape or pretty much any kind of tape, some scissors, and if we want to go ahead and make a rope with it, we just need a swivel of some sort, and you can add a carabiner to that if you want to. What we want to do is cut just some flaps off of an old cardboard box. You could use a box cutter, it'd be a little easier, but the scissors work as well. So we just need a couple of flaps. I'm just going to use the 2 end flaps because you don't need anything too long or big. Okay, we have our cardboard, and the first thing you're going to want to do, if you can tell by my finished prototype here, we're going to need to cut or fold these 2 pieces of cardboard in half. The easy way to do that is to take your scissors and use a non-sharp side and simply score it right down the middle on both boards. Now what that's going to allow you to do is simply fold these. It already creates the fold for you, and just fold that in half. I'm going to do that one as well. This whole project shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes. Okay, the next step I need to do is cut 3 metal pieces off of a clothes hanger, and I've already done that here just to save some time so you don't have to watch me do all this. The important thing is that they be fairly straight and they're all the same length. All 3 of these will need to be look exactly the same when you get done. So the first thing you want to do is clamp onto that with your pair of pliers and then bend them all 3 at the same time. Shouldn't be too hard to do, at about a 90-degree angle. Okay, we're done there. And then there's one more thing I need to do, and that is I'm going to bend them on over this. I'm going to go ahead and bend them almost all the way 180 degrees, actually. Sometimes, depending on your pair of pliers, you have to readjust some. Alright, just all 3 need to look the same. Alright, next stage is going to be to make one more bend in these, and the way that's going to work, I'm going to come out about an inch and a half from the edge here, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend these the opposite direction. So I want to get them nice and straight, bend these the opposite direction. Alright, very good. So now what I'm going to do is take one of my cardboard pieces, and I'm going to mark it so that I can determine where these 3 are going, these 3 holes are going to need to go. Much like my prototype here, they're going to need to go all the way through one of them and then straight into the next one. So the way I found it's easiest is make sure, first of all, that these are separated enough so that when they're rotating, they don't bump into each other. So all I do is I put a hole into the cardboard, and again I'm just separating these out of maybe 1.5 inches or so. It doesn't have to be exact. And once I've got a hole started, I can go ahead and pop that on through to the next side, and then I'll be able to mark that next layer. And see, I've already got my holes marked here, so I'll just take those on through. Very good. Now, I'm going to set that and go through onto the next piece of cardboard, just for the fun of it. And I'll go 1, 2, 3. So all the holes are going to be exactly evened out. It makes it easier to turn in the long run. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these all the way through, but just on one side of this piece of cardboard. Very good. Okay, so we're going to what we're going to do is feed these through, and sometimes it takes a little extra effort. Sometimes I actually even bend them out just slightly so I can fit it through that hole. Do that for all 3 of them. Ever so slightly bent, and then I can bend them back by just pushing down so it doesn't have to hurt my fingers or anything like that. All right, now we take these, and we've already got these holes set, so we in turn put all 3 wires all the way through this cardboard. At this point, you want to just check to make sure you haven't messed up or anything. These should be able to rotate all the way around without bumping into each other. And they are nicely done right here. So that's fantastic. So that's going to be the rotation piece. Now the next part that isn't quite so critical, and that's the hooks. The hooks ideally will all be approximately the same, but it's not that important that they're so exact. So I'm just going to grab this and bend it around like that. This one like that, and this last one like that. Okay, very good. So now you can see the rotation. As it rotates, it's going to turn all 3 of them at the same time. Very good. Now all we have to do is take our masking tape, and the hardest part is finding the end. Okay, now I'm going to simply tape this so that it just holds it together as one piece instead of separating out, because that just gets out in the way. Okay, and we are done with the hand crank. So you should be able to get a hand crank for yourself in less than 10 minutes. As you, if it gets a little stiff or something like that at the beginning, know that it will be easier once there's cords attached to all 3 of these hooks. It makes it a little easier to turn.